It is my distinct pleasure to welcome you to this moment where we get to announce Bourbon Lore's official Vice President of Private Lore Membership, Mr. Daemion Glantz. Daemion, welcome to the family, brother.
Thanks so much. Appreciate
Congratulations.
it. Thank you.
Cheers to you, first and foremost. Sipping on a little of America's Spirit's finest. Congrats.
This could only be the Russell 13.
Or is it the 15? We don't know, but we'll talk to Bruce later about that. Today, I am grateful to be able to have you be a part of the Bourbon Lore family. It's been a dream of mine as we've been building Bourbon Lore out to start thinking about some of the different chapters and iterations that we're going to get to write, some of the new offerings that we're going to get to bring to market. And when I first met you, there was no doubt in my mind that you were the perfect complement to help this dream come to life in the beautiful way that it is today. So share with us a little bit about who is Daemion, what is the legendary story you've been on, and how did you find your way here?
I think that my journey here kind of begins at the table and in the kitchen with flavor, with olfactory senses, with food and beverage and hospitality. It's important to recognize that I was clueless in my 20s of what I was going to do for a living and what kind of person I was going to be.
Wait, so you weren't focused in your 20s in the same way you are now?
No,
Okay.
no. I was a ski bum. And in order to pay for my season lift ticket, I worked at a restaurant in Deer Valley in Park City. And I was skiing every day and I would work at night. And by the third year, I wasn't skiing at all, and I was spending, anywhere from 10 to 16 hours a day in the kitchen learning the craft and skiing only when there were 12 to 18 inches of powder. But it gave me the idea. I loved the excitement of hospitality and the rush of the kitchen. But then it turned out that I was pretty good at matching flavors, and I really got into wine. Went to New York City and went to Boston and started doing some internships at hotel management school through Hyatt Hotels in Beaver Creek and then in Telluride and Sun Valley. Ended up actually moving to Europe in the early 2000s, working for some of the real big boys in Europe. Got my sommelier certification in Europe, ended up the chef for the Chancellor of Germany, and understood the energy that it takes and the commitment to trying to achieve perfection. We can't achieve perfection. It's something that's not attainable, but we can try to get there. And loving fine food and fine wine as much as I did for years and years, bourbon was never on the table for me. It just simply wasn't going to be an option. I wasn't a vodka or tequila or gin drinker. But then after meeting you and this immersion that we've had, it's been probably 6 months since literally we opened a bottle of wine in our house. And I'm very proud of the fact that the day before I met you, my bourbon collection was one bottle of Makers. Love the Makers.
Yeah,
kudos to the Samuel
Samuels,
family. Yep. But now we're up to about 25 bottles, and we do horizontal tastings almost every day. Not every day. I'm doing okay.
Not on a work day,
No,
right?
no, not on a work day.
Okay,
No, no, just but really enjoy it. It's a natural transition, and the nuances of bourbon that brings out so much intellect in the glass. I absolutely love it.
Well said, brother. Cheers
Thank
to
you.
that.
Cheers.
Beautiful.
Yeah. Oh, that's tasty.
For a lot of us, I think there's a piece of the journey that you've been on, the different chapters that you've written. Take us a little bit behind the scenes. Like, help us maybe kind of better understand, did you have a family that was, obviously big foodies into the culinary side of things? Did you have a dad that was big into wine? I'm just kind of curious, like, obviously finding your way into it sounds a little accidental in the kitchen, but maybe is there anything that we're missing from that story that you think we need to know?
Maybe accidentally on purpose.
Yeah.
My family would entertain at least once a week, and my dad would be in the kitchen, and I would, help him with whatever little side projects were available. But it was always not just food-based or wine-based, but kind of the community.
Yeah.
And the same way that bourbon brings in the community, a lot of storytelling in the family, the same way that every bottle of bourbon, when you open it, becomes a story for the future.
When you think about the kind of, I guess, that story from going from, Park City, finding your way to Europe, working with the Chancellor, there has to be a few lore moments, a few legendary stories where you're like, this was a moment in time, a defining experience I'll never forget.
That was every day. It was literally every day. There was a new experience. We would travel to other countries and meet heads of state. Heads of state would come to us, and I'd work with their culinary team, or some of the finest sommeliers in the world would come to us, and I would be able to sit and taste a horizontal tasting of a dozen wines just to figure out what we were going to have that night and how to pair it with the food. And the vintners that would come to these events with us would tell their story of the soil and the vine and growing the grapes and the barrels that they go in. And little did I know, it was just all preparation for now.
Let's go favorite dish, and then let's go favorite vineyard.
Favorite dish is not something that I can quantify.
Okay.
Because it is about who I was with, where I was, what was available at the time. I'm a really easy guy. Macaroni and cheese is really my comfort food of choice. A good plate of nachos is also great. I can also go into, a very particular veal dish coming out of Japan that is unattainable, or, blowfish as sushi. I've done that as well. But it's really...
Blowfish as sushi.
Yeah. It's a dangerous dish. You got to be certified. They're
poisonous?
They are if the wrong gland is cut.
Those watching, don't necessarily do this at home.
You got to be a master sushi tactician to be able to even try that. So you've also got to trust whoever's serving you that bit of sushi.
And what, I'm obviously I'm a little bit perplexed by this. So what does that even taste like? What is that like?
It tastes like nerves for me. I was nervous. There's a little subway station in Tokyo, and the sushi chef he was probably 75 at the time, and he had 3 Michelin stars. He was in a little, just tiny little place inside a subway station, and it was phenomenal. It was absolutely phenomenal. And after getting over the nerves, the taste of it was the conquering of flavor. It wasn't too oily, but the oil finish was on it. It was literally the perfect bite.
I look forward to trying that with you at some later date. Not sure I'll be at a Bourbon Lore event anytime soon.
Probably not.
On the Bourbon Lore menu. Not sure how you'd pair that with a good fine American spirit, but thinking back to, that journey that you've been on, how did that shape you from a personal side? Where were those moments where you're like, Daemion, changed, developed, and grew in a certain way that, you'll never forget?
I really think it's based on the integrity of each person that works in hospitality. For me, it was the work ethic of being able to show up every day and gain a perspective of a good, hard day's work that over the years translated into some significant success.
Okay.
And the ability to have a bad day and then come back and, repeat it and try to not make the same mistakes again. There's something to be said for the American work ethic that I'm very proud of, and proud to be a part of that in our little portion of history.
That grit and determination has obviously led you through some pretty exciting chapters, some pretty amazing people you've been able to meet, traveling internationally, coming back here to the U.S. I'm kind of curious, how did you find your way to Bourbon Lore? And what is it about Bourbon Lore that inspires or connects with you to where you feel that this is your next chapter in your journey?
Well, I have to tell you, it was a lot to do with you. The day that we met in person, you offered to take me on one of our very specific trips into Kentucky. And I said yes, and we went to this trip into Kentucky. And even though I've traveled all over the place and eaten everywhere and had the best food and wine experiences that anybody could possibly dream of, our 4 days in Kentucky literally changed my way that I think about bourbon, how to eat and drink with it, the history of our country. I'm very patriotic. I bleed red, white, and blue. I hang a flag outside my house. And the time in Kentucky, meeting all the people and all the different personalities that bourbon has to offer, it was literally life-changing. And it was such a no-brainer to go from, what do I think about this club that I want to be a part of, to actually I want to be part of this club every day.
Yeah, it was quite the trip in Kentucky, and I think there's a piece of me that looks at life and kind of looks at the way the world works, and there's certain people that come into your life for a reason. And I think all of us have had some of those people that have come into our lives at certain chapters, and maybe we didn't necessarily know exactly what the chapter was that we're going to write together, but I knew there was something here. And I will say, when we first met, you brought a level of energy, a level of excitement, a level of perspective to what we wanted to be able to build with Bourbon Lore that I immediately resonated with and connected in, I think, a really meaningful way. So bringing you and having you join us in Kentucky was a real gift, and then being able to take that next step with you and officially bringing the membership offering to market has been phenomenal. So thank you.
Yeah, me too.
Talk to us a little bit around, when you think about this next chapter for you, and you think about what we're doing with Bourbon Lore and the private membership, what are you most excited about with the private Lore membership offering that you're rolling out today?
You can't do that. That's like me picking a favorite dish, right? We have barrels that we're curating either with or for private members that they get from us, which is not just for me something to give to them, but it also puts pressure on me to make sure that I'm giving our members the very best product that they can get through our amazing partners in this industry that you've somehow come up with. I think that bourbon people have been a little bit standoffish to folks that are not in the inner circle, and you have managed to get us in with some of the finest people that the industry and industry in general has to offer. Very caring and very genuine as well. I really like the releases that we've got every quarter. Yeah. We already know. Nobody else knows what they are yet. We know what they are, and I can't wait to be a part of them. March, April, May are going to be fantastic. July and October are going to be even better, and it's such a cool part to be part of building. That is amazing to me. Specifically, I like our structure of protection that the membership has, as you challenged me to come up with a system kind of like a country club system where members join and then that annual dues, but also retaining a portion of the initial investment so that if we ever have a fluid event, basically, and I'll say basically in a broad sense, the members are protected and they can achieve their investment back again. The coolest things that we have are the experiences. Yeah. Kentucky changed my life. I've been to Jackson Hole, but it's nothing like the trip that you're sending me on, which is going to be phenomenal. While we were creating the Arizona trip, I learned more about Arizona history in one day, and I've lived in Arizona for almost 25 years. I mean, absolutely crazy, right? I mean, I had no idea. Yeah. So I think that our experiences are something that we can offer. Nobody else can even come close to what we've got. Anybody can take a trip. We have experiences, bespoke, experiential living at its finest, and the vault, the members, the symmetry of 1 + 1 = 3 and 4 is absolutely paramount in what we have to offer our members.
Freaking beautiful, bro. I love it. Thank you. Yeah, no, I think we're very similar in the fact that for me, there's this element of I desire to have these unique experiences, these defining moments that create these memories that last a lifetime, and I love to be able to share in these moments with existing friends, family, but also new friends and family. And a lot of that is what Bourbon Lore truly is about, right? And we've been very thoughtful and disciplined to make sure to put the pieces of this puzzle together in a way to where we know we can't be everything to everyone, and our focus and our responsibility is to make sure we're building something that is unique, special, and personal to someone. And those individuals that we have the opportunity to serve, they're more than a client, they're more than a customer, they're part of our family. And so when we look at some of the successes that we've had in our variety of our business ventures, I wanted to make sure that we could also bring those things that we learned in our previous investments, our previous entities and organizations, to what we're building here with Bourbon Lore, to where it's not just a club, right? This is not just a place where somebody can exist as a customer or a line item or a client, but hopefully they have the opportunity to participate truly as a member, which they get to build something with us as we build something for the first time that's never been done in this industry, in this category, but we get to do that as a collective we, not just a couple of us. So if you were to share with our membership in thinking about this kind of next chapter for you with Bourbon Lore, you've had this incredible background in culinary, you've had this amazing background, within your kind of wine sommelier opportunity. You've both been, pretty active domestically here in the U.S. and living in a variety of places. You lived international. Personally, for you, what have you not yet achieved, accomplished, where this is that next chapter for you that's your ultimate chapter?
It's difficult to nail down the one thing, but a belief in a product of something that isn't necessarily mine. But this is a product of the liquid that's in the glass. This is a product of the symmetry of our membership. This is a product of all of our team's collective memories and dreams. Putting that all together it just gives me an opportunity to be part of something that's going to be so rewarding, to look back every year and see what we accomplished. And that ability to define what success is, and our personal success and our success in the club, that's what's really going to drive me, is the ability to define success for ourselves.
When you think about some of the conversations we've been having, there's this aspect of, I think, curiosity around when Bourbon Lore says we're curating living lore. And not only are we curating living lore, we have this aspiration to be able to create an environment, a membership, a value offering, where those that come into contact with the beautiful platform of Bourbon Lore get the opportunity to become legend in the same way that many of our distillers have created legends in their own right. So if you think about this idea of curating living lore as Bourbon Lore, what does that mean to you? And if we think about this kind of idea and this commitment of being able to become legend as a member of Bourbon Lore and these incredible moments that we're curating, what does that mean to you?
Memories. Creating memories that are generational, just like the stories that you and I tell every day to not just our kids, but anybody that'll listen at this point, basically. Being able to create the memories and solidify a place in history. Most of our members are very affluent and can do whatever they want, whenever they want. So the mundane is just not something that will interest any of our private members. What we're doing is creating such a system of repetition, of blowing their minds, literally doing things that they don't see coming, that it creates history for them, and it gives them an opportunity to turn around and then tell others about it. And when you become the storyteller rather than the listener to the story, that really grows you into becoming legend.
So one of the things that I've enjoyed as, I've looked at, our successes, our challenges, the different scenic routes that, we've taken either in business or as a family, is when we always come back to center, when we find that true north generally comes down to the people in which you surround yourself with, to from a place and time as far as where we're going, what we're doing, where we're at, and ultimately from a product side, what is the product that I'm trying to go out and accomplish or deliver? And so for us with Bourbon Lore, and I think much of our philosophy has been, let's start with the relationships. Let's start with the power of the team, the people, the families that truly have written the legends and the lore of America's spirit. And we have absolutely invested, every step of the way of the Bourbon Lore journey to make sure that we can earn that trust, right? Earn that opportunity. Now we're finally at this place where we're actually getting ready to roll out the first round of private membership offerings for Bourbon Lore, a membership offering that really has never been curated before in the history of American whiskey, and a product that I would say goes beyond the liquid in the glass or the liquid in the bottle, a product that goes really into creating an environment that is a community where you get to have these adventures, you get to meet these amazing new people, you get access to these places that you could only ever dream of, and in return, truly have an adventure that stands the test of time, where bourbon is the foundation and the backbone, but the icing on the cake. And so for those that are out there that haven't had a chance to, maybe really have a moment to get to know Bourbon Lore or get an idea of, listen, Mason seems to be really fired up and has all these kind of, exciting or great ideas, or the Bourbon Lore team seems always like they're on some cool adventure. Well, we want to live this way, right? We say inside of Bourbon Lore, we don't want to just sip American whiskey. We want to live the adventure of American spirit. And if we can fight for that opportunity, are there those that are out there that might connect with this and go, wait a minute, I didn't know that was possible. So yes, I enjoy having a few bottles at home. Yeah. I love sharing a couple bottles around the table with my friends and family. But if I could get a chance to go out and truly write a chapter of lore in my life that you're describing, with some incredible distillery partners, some amazing liquid, and in return, and an experience that defines a lifetime of memories for me, I want that. So when you think about this kind of time that we're in with Bourbon Lore, and thinking about the people, thinking about the place we're in, and thinking about the type of products that we're going to be able to deliver to our membership, what stands out with you in those three that really resonates, that summarizes this next chapter for Bourbon Lore?
Well, I think you nailed it with not just the people, but the places and the product. The people, I was very serious when I said the symmetry of our group of members is more valuable than each one that's involved put together. When you have like-minded, success-oriented people as the basis for a group that you are part of, then those people can understand your lifestyle, your decision-making process, the stress of what it is that you do when you go to the office or you open your laptop. Decisions that you make have real long-term consequences if you make the wrong one, and that can be a lot of pressure. Yeah. But you can't talk about that with someone that has never had to make those decisions. So if you have access to like-minded professionals, success-driven, principled professionals that understand that pressure, that kind of gets you immediately into a safer spot in which you can talk about some of the decisions that you have to make, or what sailing trip you're going to go on, or if you're going to go to Africa on safari, or whatever our next experiences that we create are going to bring us. But the idea is that they are life-changing. The ones that we have are already life-changing. They changed my life. Yeah. I mean, I'm sitting here with you today. Yeah. A couple months ago, I didn't think that was going to be possible. The places that we go are physical and emotional. And when we can be together and have the product that's in the glass that is absolutely world-class, created by world-class organizations that have nothing but integrity oozing out of their barrels, the culmination of everything together is just, it's joyful. I mean, it's a good time. Well and said, being able to do really cool stuff.
Yeah, no, I appreciate everything that you've shared. And like I shared in the beginning, I truly believe that certain people come into your life for a reason, and it's up to us to make sure that we are living in a level to where we can be present in those moments, meet those individuals where they're at, and in return, be able to see the opportunity to complement one another and how we might be able to support each other and being able to take that next step in the dreams that each of us have, or the aspirations that we have. And so for my family, for Ashley and I, for Clay and the rest of our partners here at Bourbon Lore, it's a real honor to have you a part of our leadership team. I'm inspired by what you bring to the table. Your level of zest and grit and determination to go out there and build something exceptional is hands down one of the most impressive attributes I've seen in any leadership that we've had affiliated with our business ventures. And so from our Bourbon Lore family to you, and now welcoming you into our family, cheers to this next chapter. Thank you for your trust. And I look forward to writing a new chapter of lore with you in Bourbon Lore.
Thanks, Mason. Brother. Cheers.